If you work in customer service, what's the one thing you never thought you would have to explain to an adult?
Yeah, hi, hello. The concept of buy two, get one free. Y'all don't understand the amount of adults I had to explain to about buy two, get one fucking free. Like, what's so hard to fucking grasp? Like, come to register talking about some, oh, why is the total so high? I thought it was buy two, get one free. I'm like, yeah, so you're buying these two, the other one will be free. Oh, well, I thought it was buy two, get one free, like right now. First of all, bitch, with that dumbass logic, it would be buy one, get one free. And not only that, you just said to your damn self, buy two, get one free. Yes, you're buying these two. So where the fuck is the other item for it to be free? I'm so lost right now. Like, I remember this one girl wanted to sit there and argue with me so bad, talking about something that's a bad deal. Well, Uno, first of all, buy two get one free been around since forever. So what are you talking about? Number two, you thought I care enough about this establishment to sit there and argue with you right now? Fuck you. Fuck you. Number three, you're broke. Like, just say that. Like,
Hi, welcome to Starbucks. What can I get for you? Yeah, can I get an iced coffee? But can you put the ice in the bottom? Do you want extra ice? No, I just want the ice in the bottom. I don't like when it floats to the top. I I can't control physics.
Your shoe is not gonna cost the same as an infant shoe. Please. The size 12 infant shoe, yeah, it costs $50 because it's for a fucking baby. No, your shoe is not the same price. Also, you can't come back 6 months later with these fucking shoes that look like you've walked around the world with them, have holes in them, they stink, and expect your money back. It's not gonna happen. What do you...
Okay, so like 15 years ago, I used to work at JCPenney in the mall, and this woman walks in one time with a cart full of stuff, which I thought was weird because we don't have carts. And it was like already past closing time, but we hadn't like shut the big gate or whatever. And so she walks in, she asked me to like check her stuff out, and so I start using the little gun to do it, and I keep getting these error codes. So I try to type in the barcode instead, and that's when I look at the tags on all of her merchandise, and I realized that they are from many, many, many different stores. And I was like, oh, none of this is from JCPenney. And she was like, yeah, like, I know. Check it out. Like, I'm ready to pay now. And I was like, no, ma'am, like, that's not how it works. Like, you can't pay for your Claire's stuff and your Walden Books stuff and your Carson stuff at JCPenney. None of this is from JCPenney. Like, I cannot take this money. And, like, ma'am, you stole this stuff.
I work at Krispy Kreme, right? And we had this really long line inside the lobby. Lady comes up to me. She's like, hey, can you heat up my maple donut in your microwave? I'm like, A, we can't do that. And B, we don't have a microwave, right? Another person comes up right after her. They heard me say words out of my mouth, right? And then the next person's like, hey, can you heat up my glazed donut in the microwave? I said, sir, the microwave still doesn't exist. We still can't do that. Then he's like, fine, what if I pay extra? I said, that will not make it exist yet. It's not real. Then a third person comes up and he's like, I have a hair in my donut from the young lady. I said, sir, it's an all-male staff tonight. And he just went, fuck you. So there's that.
For years, I worked at a national chain steakhouse. And we had rack of lamb on our menu, and two women came in, and they saw the rack of lamb, and they asked me, is that pork or beef? To which I said, oh no, it's not pork or beef, it's lamb. And they're like, but is it pork or beef? And I'm like, well, it's not really like either. Are you asking about like flavor? Because it's probably a little bit closer to steak, like a beef. And they're like, no, is it pork or beef? If you can't answer the question, do we need to speak to your manager? And I was like, I can get my manager. But lamb comes from a sheep. And pork comes from a pig. And beef comes from a cow. Like, moo. It's one of my proudest moments. Their initial reaction was just to say, okay, we're going to need a few minutes to look at the menu. I was like, okay. And they were fine the rest of the time. It was just that first initial interaction that was like, what?
So I used to work at a coffee shop, and this lady came in and ordered an almond milk latte with whipped cream. And as I'm taking the order, she's telling me how she's lactose intolerant, blah, blah, blah. So I look at her and I said, are you sure you want whipped cream then? Because whipped cream is dairy. Like, why would you want whipped cream? And she tells me, oh, no, whipped cream is fine because it's non-dairy. And I said, no, like, whipped cream is made with heavy whipping cream. It is, like, as dairy can get. And she says, well, when I go to the grocery store, I buy whipped cream and it's dairy-free. And I said, well, that's whipped topping, not whipped cream. That's made with hydrogenated vegetable oil. That's a little bit different. She proceeds to scream at me, threatening to sue, saying that she's been having stomach problems for months and this is all our fault. And then this little old lady behind her taps her on the shoulder and says, honey, it's not her fault. You're a fucking moron.
Boy, I've been waiting on this one. A lady came into a bank that I used to work at, yelling, cussing, screaming, talking about we stole her money from her. So after a long time, we finally get to pull up her account after she calmed down enough to give us her account number and her ID. So I pull up her account and I'm like, ma'am, you withdrew all this money from the ATM and you overdrafted your account on purpose. She's arguing, no, I withdrew that money from the ATM. I withdrew that money from the ATM. I withdrew it from the ATM. And I'm like, yes, the money in your account you withdrew from the ATM. She literally didn't understand what I was talking about. So I showed her the transactions, all the ATM transactions. And she's like, no, that's not supposed to come out of my account. It's supposed to come out of the ATM. And I'm like, yeah, the ATM that accesses your account when you withdraw the money. Bruh, she thought the ATM money was free. I put that on everything. She thought
the front desk agents at a hotel are not a babysitting service. This old white couple checked in and said, hey, can you guys watch our baby? And we were like, no, we cannot. They said the front desk people at their last hotel watched their baby. I was all like, well, that's not in our job description, so no. They checked into their hotel and they came by really dressed up later on that night. I was like, how can I help y'all? They said, we want to go out and there's no one to watch our kid. I was all like, okay, and... They said nothing. They started to chuckle and they walked away and they got into the elevator. And I was like, okay, whatever. And I hear breathing on the other side of the desk. Tell me how they left their child when they were talking to me. They tried to pull a fast one on me because I was working by myself. I said, that's fine. There's a little non-emergency contact number that we can call for our hotel. So I called that number and said there's a missing child.
Excuse me, I was here like 4 months ago and my whole order was wrong, so I'm gonna need a refund. 4 months ago? Do you have a receipt? No, I don't have a receipt, but it was $40 and I paid in cash, so... Yeah, so I can't refund that without a receipt. But did you call us by any chance to let us know that your order was wrong? Yes, I talked to a manager named John. We've never had a manager named John, so unfortunately I can't help you. What do you mean you can't help me? You're just gonna steal my money? I can't do a cash refund without any proof of purchase. Well, why not? You have a cash drawer. Why can't you open it and give me some money? I'm sorry, is this like a really bad robbery or what's going on?
Buckle up. Here comes a Spencer story. So for those of you who don't know, I used to work at Spencer's. And one day a woman came in and bought something from the back of the store. She brought her handy little didgeridoo up to the front and I checked her out. She asked me my opinion of her personal pickle that she was about to purchase. And I said, it's great. I would give it a 10. She said, cool, and left. 15 minutes later, she comes back into the store, upset. She walks up to the counter and places her unopened, recently used Hot Pocket Pal on the counter. She looks at me and says, I'd give it a 3. I want my money back. And I said, ma'am, we don't do returns for this type of transaction. This is boldly gone where most people have not gone before. It passed go and we cannot collect $200. It passed a point of no return. It did a great Your Space Odyssey. And she said, I sprayed it with Windex. And I said, even though it's streak-free, we can't have it back. I made $7 an hour at that job.
Okay, when I was like 19, I worked at a diner. And these two ladies came in. I knew they were going to be a problem from the beginning. But the one lady orders an omelet with peppers. The other lady orders just egg whites. And I'm like, okay, that's simple. Okay, their food comes out. I hand the lady the omelet with peppers. And she's like, what are these? And I'm like, peppers. And she's like, they're not green. I was like, some of them are green. She's like, no, what is the red and orange? And I was like, those are peppers. And she was like, no, peppers are green. No other color. And I was like, okay. And then I had to explain to her peppers come in all colors. Well, not all of them, but you know what I mean. Okay, and then the lady that she's with gets egg whites. And she's like, where's the yolk? And I'm like, there is no yolk. You ordered egg whites. And she's like, exactly, where's my yolk? And I was like, egg whites, there is no yolk. That's the exact meaning of it. And she was like, no! And then they proceeded to scream at me in the diner. It was great.
There are a bunch, but I'm going to go with the time I had to explain to a woman that the fried chicken that she wanted from the deli where I worked was going to take 20 minutes to cook because, like, we're legally required to cook it for 20 minutes, so it's not raw. And she said, okay, well, I want to pick it up in 15 minutes. Ma'am, you're going to have to pick it up in 20 minutes because we're not going to give you salmonella chicken. Sorry.
I have so many of these. I worked at Ulta and we always put in the person's phone number, so when they come up and you check out, it's always under your account. The amount of people that were straight offended that I didn't have their phone number memorized because they're a VIP customer, that's not a thing. I don't know you. I had someone get literally angry that I put the receipt in the bag. Like, screamed at me that I put the receipt in the bag instead of handing it to her. She said this was going to cause her to get her identity stolen. That's not even a little how it works. People that complain to me about prices as if I owned Ulta and I made these prices. They would get angry that I apparently made this that price. It was my fault.
I'd like to return a pair of pants. Absolutely. Can I see your receipt? I didn't bring it. Okay, totally fine. I can look up your number in the system. I'm not a member here. Okay, no worries. Can I see the pants? I didn't bring them. Okay, I can't process a return if the product isn't physically here. I've done it before. No, you have not.
I've been fucking waiting for this shit. I'm a bartender. I never thought I'd have to explain to somebody what the fuck is in a vodka cran. I never thought I'd have to explain to somebody that when you order food, it doesn't come out 3 seconds after. And if you ask me why the people next to you got their food first, it's because they fucking ordered before you. I also never thought I'd have to explain to somebody that you don't get extra liquor because you linked at me. There's a lot of fucking things I thought I wouldn't have to explain to somebody that's fucking 40 years old. But apparently, there's a lot of things adults don't fucking know.
If you work in customer service, what's the one thing you never thought you would have to explain to an adult? I'll go first. A woman called me and asked where her item for delivery was. I asked her, what's the date that you placed your order? She gave me the date of 2 days prior. I reminded her that when she purchased the item, she agreed and acknowledged the fact that it would take a week for her item to arrive. And she said, yeah, I'm aware of that, but it's been 2 days. Where is it? So I said, well, if it's been 2 days and it takes a week, then there are 5 days left. It'll be there in 5 days. And she said no. And so I said, well, when did you expect it to arrive? And she said, by now. And I said, but it hasn't been a week. And she insisted that it had. So I was like, ma'am, how many days do you think are in a week? Then she hung up and we never heard from her again.